Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are from the upcoming production reading of a new play called Chalk. It's part of Mirrorbox Theater's Out the Box series. Kevin Hallman, who is the director of Mirrorbox Theater. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Dennis. Glad to be here.
And Marcia Hughes, who is one of the two members of the cast of Chalk. Marcia, hi.
Hi, Dennis. It's good to be here.
Glad to have you both here. So this is, before we started the microphones, I was astonished to discover, Kevin, that this is number 8 in your Out the Box series. Oh my gosh, we've been quarantined for so long.
Yeah, I mean, for my family, we started physically distancing on March 14th. So it's kind of crazy that for me, I can actually count how long I've been in, this state literally by the performances of Out the Box. I mean, each one marks a week for my family. I know different people, have different times that they started, but yeah, it is a little mind blowing at times.
Yeah, and your baby is now a teenager.
It feels like it. It feels like it.
So what you've been doing with the Out the Box series is, because of course we can't stage live plays right now, you've been picking a play each week and doing a reading of that, obviously, across the internet. And you've worked with local performers and also performers from all around the country, but this is just a show featuring local performers and a couple of our best. Marcia, don't blush.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mark. I mean, I agree. These people are some of the best, some of my favorites, and I've been really fortunate to work with Marcia. This will be our 4th time collaborating at Mirrorbox, and Caroline Price, who's playing the other role, is the head of acting at Cornell College and also deeply talented person. So it's a pleasure. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Chalk.
Oh my gosh. So Chalk, we mentioned Caroline a minute ago, and it's really cool. She actually was part of the workshop development of this play a few years ago when she lived in Boston, which is where the playwright is located. So this is kind of a homecoming of sorts for her to this role. But Chalk, it's a 2-person play. It's a 1-act. And it is this intense dystopian sci-fi confrontation between a mother and her daughter, with whom she had a kind of fraught relationship, but her daughter has kind of gone off into the woods and returned inhabited by one of the aliens who has taken over the world. And it is a battle of wills between this mother who is still trying to protect her daughter in any way she can, while at the same time fighting for her own life.
So you've chosen a dystopian sci-fi thriller to reflect our modern times, I guess, huh?
It's not as direct a correlation as that, but I think that I just think it's inevitable that both myself as a reader, when I'm reading plays and looking for plays for the series, that I'll be making connections, whether they're subconsciously or consciously, between, our current conditions and the work. And that happens, when planning a physical season, for months into the future as well. I think that, it's funny, I was having a conversation with some other artistic directors recently. I was like, I have no interest in planning a season of coronavirus plays, but on the other hand, it's inevitable that the current conditions of our world and of our society, can't help but bleed into those decisions.
Marcia, talk to me just a little bit about how you prepare for this, because it's a reading, so you don't have to memorize. Yay! Right. So that makes it a little bit easier. But also, I assume that you and Caroline and Kevin are doing some rehearsing, which you're doing remotely. So just talk a little bit about how that process works.
Well, Kevin can explain more about how it's worked up to this point. We actually will do that coming up on Thursday, the night before. So we've had our material here for a little while. Of course, as Caven explained, Carolyn is more familiar with this piece because she had the privilege of helping to workshop it at the beginning. For me, it's been a lot of oohs and ahs as I've been reading along and figuring out Maggie's character, which myself. So I've been doing a lot of reading through the script, a lot of rereading through the script, a lot of trying to decide, I'll be really honest with you, where I'm going to put the script for doing the reading so that it's as pleasant for the audience as we're going along as possible. I want to be as familiar with it as I can so that as much of it is not, I don't want it to sound like I'm reading it. I want to perform the character. And she's a really great character, so I don't want to let any of that slip away. She's, talk about your great kickoff for Mother's Day weekend. Wow.
Mother fighting her alien inhabited daughter. It screams Mother's Day.
It's an episode. It's an episode of the Twilight Zone through and through. I mean, that's really how when I first read it, first thing I thought of was, oh my gosh, this is an episode of the Twilight Zone, and I love it so much.
Yeah,
So, okay,
it has. Yeah,
go ahead,
Dennis. Oh, I was just going to say it has some really wonderful nods to some classic sci-fi pieces, whether that's Invasion of the Body Snatchers or War of the Worlds, but at the same time really feels like its own take on that genre. And I think especially because I don't know that we really get to see a lot of mother-daughter and female-centered stories and relationships, I think, in some of those classic sci-fi pieces. So I think it's both gives those nods to its influences, but it is its own thing. It's a wonderful piece. So
you kind of pull these together in pretty much just in one rehearsal before the reading. So as a director, what are you looking for, and also what makes it more difficult to try and do it remotely as opposed to doing it in person?
Sure. So what I'm looking for, and I'll say this is often the same in physical productions, I am just a glutton for a well-paced experience. I definitely think when in doubt, just let the words do the work and just follow it through. I think that something that I've said in rehearsals before is like, you don't need to separate thinking from acting, right? There's a lot of times where people kind of stop to think and then they act. And it's like, no, thinking and acting, merge them together, and just let the words do the work. And that's really the other thing is we had a rehearsal, I think last week, where someone's character, it's said that they come in funny disguise and glasses and so when the performer turned on their camera, they were in a disguise, and it was funny in a moment, but also I discouraged them from doing that, because I think the thing about this process is it is a reading from people's homes, and let's just lean into the fact that like it is not theater as we know it. And kind of any of those steps that we take to try and pretend that it is like theater as we know it really only calls attention to the fact that it is not. So let's just let it be this thing and lean into that and enjoy it for what it is. So I think that's really where a lot of my thinking as a director on this process goes.
It's really all about experiencing the words, as you said, the words and the way the actors say them.
Yeah, and supporting these great playwrights. I mean, we're working with people who are really creating art at a very high level, and in their words, that we get to share them and that we get to honor that work is really special. It's a privilege. So.
The play is Chalk, and it'll go up at 8 p.m. on Friday, May 8th. And this is, unlike a lot of these experiences, Caven, there's no recording or anything. You're experiencing it in real time. So you have to, in essence, make a reservation so that you can be a part of the broadcast.
That's right, and there are only 100 streams available to be registered. So both making it an event that happens in real time and that has a limited size to its audience. Those are two ways in which we're trying to make it feel in some way like a physical theater experience.
All right, the play is Chalk, and it's presented by Mirrorbox Theatre, and you can go to mirrorboxtheatre.com to make your reservation. Marcia, good luck. Sounds like one of the side benefits to this is, I'm guessing on stage, this is probably a pretty physical show, so you're not going to get tossed around. That's got to be a little bit of a benefit.
Yeah, except that the more I read this, the more I wish we were doing it for real. It's really a cool script.
We'll get experience it on Friday, May 8th. And again, mirrorboxtheatre.com if you would like to know more or make a reservation for the stream. Marcia Hughes, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dennis. Great to see you.
Caven, thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Dennis.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule at kcck.org/culture or using your favorite podcast app. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.